Hey guys, my name's DocJade, and welcome to the final episode of the Green Circuit series. Are you excited? I am. Let's get right into it. First things first, we need to automate the 3 levels of productivity modules. We're going to use them on all of the assemblers that don't require green circuits, because then we can be more efficient with our resources. To make a full red belt of level 1 productivity modules, we would need 600 assemblers. Yeah, that's not happening, so let's aim for 6 per second. 120 assemblers, and some belt shenanigans later, we have a theoretical 6 per second done. The only problem is we can't turn it on, because we don't have any plastic for red circuits. Anyhow, let's start working on the next level. Also, braking force is finished from last episode. I built my production a bit too small, so I'll double it up. Funnily enough, the most productive person I know in my life is currently my sister. She has scoliosis though, just like this assembly line. We're still having a shortage of red circuits due to missing plastics, but strangely it's not a petroleum shortage this time, it's coal. Luckily there's another patch of coal above Amazon, so I'll start collecting it with miners. The drill kind, not the underage Amazon worker kind. That should fix our coal supply issues, at least temporarily. Now, with more plastic at our disposal, I'll set up a secondary red circuit plant. We've finished level 1 and 2 prod mods, so let's start working on level 3s, right after I build some more solar panels to fight our current energy crisis. What's great about not caring about ratios is you can just copy and paste designs and change the recipes, so level 3s are a piece of cake. Now we're right back to square one with yet another plastic shortage. This time it's due to our tiny coal liquefaction plants not being able to keep up with the petroleum demand. So I'll set up an old-fashioned oil refining setup right next to this oil field. Originally, I was going to use the bog standard basic oil refining to get the petroleum directly, but this resulted in not enough petroleum yield, so I had to switch to the advanced oil refining. That increased yield significantly, but now we can't deliver water fast enough, which is pretty funny. So I'll make some pipe pasta and force feed the fluid fairies with force to more fastly deliver water. I also got hit by a train. With our water woes eliminated, production for petroleum to process into plastics was, perfect. Anyway, we've got red circuits again. I'll remove prod mods from the to-do list and then quickly expand plastic production, as we'll need at least 5 red belts of it. Now we can start working on science packs. Red science is going to be a walk in the park because we've already got copper plates and gears. Oh, and I also forgot to add military science to the list, so I'll do that really quick. There isn't much to commentate on here. Building this is as smooth as butter sliding down a metal slide in 112 degree Fahrenheit heat, except it's not actually butter, it's margarine. I cannot believe it. Anywho, that's done, but it looks like we ran out of stack inserters because we haven't produced any in the last 3.5 hours, so I'll set up production in the old base's bot-based mall. Now it's time to automate belt production to keep our pants on and mostly as an ingredient for green science. Next up is the almost as trivial inserters. Same recipe as belts, just with an additional green circuit to give it critical thinking skills. New problem, low iron. I think it's just an ore delivery problem though, so I'll throw down some more ore trains. Now, with the whole goal being 1,000,000 green circuits, I don't think 2 grid cells are gonna cut it, so I'll paste down an additional 8 more. I'll also tear down this old inner wall to make room for yet more grid cells. I'll go ahead and finalize that inserter cell, and then we can get to work on green science. Now that's done, but it looks like it wasn't a delivery problem for the iron ore, it was a supply problem. Sadly, since the old base barely produces any rockets, we can't research any mining productivity right now, but that's okay, I'll just go ahead and build another mine. Now you might be thinking, why is the iron ore getting put into passive provider chests? Well, I don't know. But my iron hungers could not be satisfied, so I started to build a westward protrusion from the base. My thinking was if I could get far enough out, I could find some bigger ore patches. While I did find a few, they weren't big enough to warrant building all the way out to them, so I decided to actually take a good look at the nearby patches of ore around my base, and then I realized that they were probably already big enough, so I canned the expansion plan. After googling synonyms for anyways, I started setting up military sciences prerequisites. I started off with regular ammo, then I upgraded it to piercing rounds, but then I ran low on steel, so I had to set up another steel smelter. Nevertheless, I started working on grenades, and then finally military science. Well, that's done. I've never been too fond of military science. Now, we're not getting any green science because we're out of inserters because we're out of green circuits. Shortage of copper, shortage of iron, shortage of iron, shortage of iron, full of spiders. But for right now, we'll just ignore that. Military science is done, so let's start working on blue science. That's also an easy science because everything we need for it is already automated. There we go, super easy. I would show more footage, but it was just me copy and pasting grenade production and changing the recipe. Now we get to graduate from the boring basic sciences and start working on purple, yellow, and space science. The only thing we're missing for purple science is electric furnaces, so we'll start working on those. But first, please tell me I'm not insane. Do you see all these Tetris T pieces? Is this normal? Remember the westward wall expansion thing? Well, it happened to enclose some stone, so I'm gonna make even more landfill out of it. Now I'll clear some room for the oversized electric furnace production, and once the landfill is in, we can get started. But while I wait, I'll place down a couple more copper smelters. Actually, scratch that. Filling in the landfill is taking a lot longer than expected, so this results in me getting sidetracked for quite a while. We'll get back to the electric furnace production eventually, but first we're going to start mining this new patch of iron. While building the new wall, this part of the base is vulnerable to attacks, so I'll have Dave and his buddies pace back and forth here like a bunch of schizophrenic crackheads. And there we go, now the mining outpost is done. I'll go ahead and set up some accompanying smelting arrays and a new Amazon warehouse. Also, another reason why green science isn't being produced is I forgot a belt here. No military science because we aren't getting any grenades, and no grenades because we're not getting any coal, so I'll set up another coal mining outpost. Actually, I'm feeling generous, so I'll set up yet another one. With iron and coal happy again, I can now refocus my focus on furnaces. I whipped together this nifty belt design and went to town, placing it down over and over again until I had an excessive amount of assemblers due to my still uncorrected math. After belting and plugging in this monstrosity akin to over-budgeted military spending, I finally realized my math was off by 500%. But I'm too lazy to fix it, so I'll just move on and start working on purple science. Building it's not too bad, it's just a tad bigger due to requiring more ingredients. Also, a quick check of the production menu shows that we are more than a quarter of the way to our 1 million target. Real quick, I'm going to automate red belts and red underground belts, because the production at the old base isn't fast enough to keep up anymore. Even with that, I'm still waiting for belts at the furnace production. This is taking forever. So apparently there's only 2 green circuit delivery trains for some reason, so I'll go ahead and add a few more. Also, red circuits has stopped again, this time due to a shortage of copper plates. Turns out there's only 3 copper plate delivery trains. Why? I'll fix that. The Giga Smelter Assembler is only missing red circuits now. That shouldn't take long. Even more copper smelting. More mining. It's been 30 minutes and still no red chips for the furnaces because we have a shortage of copper. But I've got a solution. More copper mines. Unfortunately, I lost the footage of me building the wall, so here's a close-up of the map. I made this new double-sided loader design so I can squeeze more trains into here for loading. That'll do. I'll go ahead and send off a few more delivery trains. Turns out I set the conditions wrong for red ammo delivery, and once I fix that, military science starts working. I'm tired of waiting for red circuits, so I'll set up even more production. Also, we're starting to have power problems again, so it's time to set up yet another nuclear, not nuclear, power plant. We finally got a delivery of red circuits to the furnace production. That only took about 2 hours. Here's where I gave up on using productivity module 3s and everything. Production was so abysmally slow. Now Purple Science finally gets its first delivery of electric furnaces. And Blue Science finally gets its first red circuit delivery. With red, green, black, blue, and purple science done, it's time to start working on the most complicated sciences, right after I take a quick nap. Now let's get cracking on yellow science. Let's start off with the robot frames. We're going to need the lubricant for the electric engines, so I'll whip that together real quick. Then we'll set up the actual electric engines themselves. Easy peasy. And there's electric engines. It's just waiting on green circuits now. Next, I'll start working on the robot frames. This cell-based base design makes automating stuff super easy. It almost feels like cheating sometimes. There, robot frames are done. Now I'll start working on low-density structure. With low-density structure done, I can finally start working on the actual science packs. There we go, now we can just wait for the ingredients to start flowing in. Except it seems blue circuit production has stopped due to a lack of sulfuric, which has stopped due to a lack of iron plates, which has stopped due to a lack of iron ore being delivered, and not having enough smelting arrays. But once I fix that, it turns out that we are also having another shortage of plastic due to not having enough petroleum gas again, so I'll expand the base a tad east to enclose some new ore patches and some more oil. I'll start working on harvesting all of the materials and building pickup stations for all of them. First off, we'll do iron. Then oil. Unfortunately, this still won't be enough oil, but I've got a plan for later. Now we'll do copper. There's also a second patch of iron up here, so I'll get that too. We're starting to make robot frames, but we still don't have any plastic for low density structure, but we've got more oil capacity now, so I'll add a couple new trains. Still no plastic for low density, so I'll throw down another oil refining plant to speed up petroleum production. According to the train menu, we still don't have enough iron ore delivery trains, so I'll throw a few more down. We also don't have enough iron plate delivery trains, so I'll make more of those too. Still no plastic. I'm going to convert this landfill production into another stone pickup because the other pickups aren't filling up the trains fast enough anymore. Also, our first load of robot frames are done. Now we're just waiting on low density structure and blue circuits. Blue circuits is still stopped due to missing sulfuric acid, which itself is still missing iron plates somehow, so I'll set up more delivery trains for the plates and the ore. I also pasted down yet another oil refinery, even though we currently don't have the oil capacity for it. Water isn't being delivered to the refineries fast enough now, so I'll add another water train and another water filling station. plates are finally being delivered to sulfuric acid production, but it's all currently being used for battery production, so we'll have to wait a bit longer for the blue circuits. Still need more oil though, so I'll use some beacons with speed modules and expand the wall again to give us access to another oil patch. I'll also set up another stone pickup, just in case. We're still missing sulfuric acid, now because our production of sulfur can't keep up, and we're still missing plastic for low density. I'll send off another oil train real quick, but I accidentally put a cargo wagon instead of a fluid wagon on it, so now I have to go find it. There it is. We aren't making sulfur anymore due to being out of petroleum gas again, and I'll let past me explain my thoughts on the subject. Here comes my wacky oil idea to hopefully solve our petroleum woes. I'm going to set up coal liquefaction on this entire coal patch. I ran the numbers again real quick, and we're still not making enough iron or copper plates to hit 1 million, so I'll have to keep that in mind. But for now, I'll just add some more copper plate delivery trains. This oil setup is going to be massive. I want it to consume 5 red belts of coal, and hopefully that'll be enough to make a metric butt-ton of petroleum. After making a ton of fracking chemical plants, I just need to hook everything together. Ignore the doubled up pipes, they were a dumb idea and I removed them later. Now that we've got steam, I just need to jumpstart the refineries with a bit of heavy oil, and then we can finish connecting everything. And there we go, a lot more petroleum. Honestly, I think converting 5 belts of coal into oil was a dumb idea, but at least it was a fun dumb idea. Now I'll optimistically set up way too many pickup stations. And once I finish placing the rails, the petroleum starts getting delivered. Now I'll place down way too many delivery trains, but hey, we've got plastic again. My FPS started to dip below 60, so I investigated what was slowing everything down. Turns out the biters are absorbing a ton of pollution, which produces more biters, which tanks performance, so I'll have to do some spring cleaning. In the background, I'm going to be moving the artillery train around the base to take out the nearby biter nests, but check this out. We have finally got plastic for low-density structure. Low-density structure is now being delivered to the science production, now we just need blue circuits. Still low on sulfuric acid though, but we'll fix that in a minute. I'm going to go deliver some green circuits to the old base, so hopefully we can launch a couple more rockets out of it and get some research done. I'll also add a copper ore drop-off for the old base. Now, the problem with sulfuric acid is we aren't making sulfur fast enough, so I'll set up more sulfur production. Now that the old base is starting to produce rocket control units again, we can queue a few research. I'm researching more laser damage because the walls aren't quite as strong as I thought they would be, so the behemoth biters occasionally break small parts of the wall. I'll throw lab research into the front of the queue real quick because I feel like it. Sulfur is missing petroleum again, but it's actually a shortage of water this time, so I'll throw down a couple filling stations and some more trains. For some reason, batteries are still stealing all of the acids, so I'll throw down another sulfuric acid train. Oh, and some more acid production. There, now we're starting to make blue circuits again. Unfortunately, we're going to need a lot more of them, so I'm going to paste down 5 more blue circuit production cells. After some more waiting, we finally get a delivery of blue circuits, and yellow science is now completely done. Now we can start working on building rockets, but unfortunately another day has flown by, and I'm tired again. After a quick 4-second break, it's time to start working on rockets. First up is rocket control units. Luckily, I planned ahead and already automated speed modules, so this will be a piece of cake. There we go. Although I am happy to see low density structure running at full capacity, unfortunately we are going to need more of it, so I'll paste down a second cell. Performance is dropping again, so I guess I need to take out some more biters. I'll go ahead and do that in the background. Next up is solid fuel. We need it to make rocket fuel. The recipes that just used fluids are a tad boring, so I'll just skip to the finished setup. Apparently making solid fuel out of light oil is more efficient, but I didn't know that until about 20 minutes ago, so feel free to complain about it in the comments, it boosts engagement. I redesigned it though to use petroleum directly instead of cracking heavy oil on site. I want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Cole for informing me about Factorio's auto belt placing trick. It's super handy. I finished building solid fuel production, and then I realized that my artillery train had gone back to the station because I forgot to delete it from its schedule. That's annoying. After killing a few biters, it's time to start working on rocket fuel production. Oh, and here's a cool fact. Rocket fuel is the most advanced recipe made only from oil. I was sending the artillery train to the west wall, but it got stuck at a rail signal, blocking all of the copper trains. So I told it to turn around temporarily, but then it started to path through the main base, and because the train is so darn long, it would inevitably rip itself to shreds by running into itself, so I had to go catch it. The reason it got stuck there is I accidentally left a train on the tracks over here, so once I got rid of that train, it continued on its merry way. After killing thousands of innocent biters, I sent it back to the station, being extra careful to ensure it didn't route through the main base again. Anyways, back to huffing enough rocket fuel to make MK Ultra look like a walk in the park. After plugging in the light oil, rocket fuel is up and running. Paranoia resulted in these speed modules being added. I have no other explanation. Progress update, we are now 62% of the way to our goal of 1 million. Now I'll make some rocket silos, and then we can start building the actual rockets. Well, that's cool. I guess I'll have to walk all the way back here. Just kidding, Factorio dude can control trains with telekinesis, so I can hitch a ride on this copper train. After scraping my dead body off the tracks like a roadkill deer, we can resume working on making rockets. Now that we've got both of the silos, I'll plunk them on down, surround them with 2 mini inserters, and accidentally deliver red circuits instead of low-density structure. I also set up deliveries for rocket fuel and rocket control units. After routing the belts and adding some fancy lighting, all we have to do is wait for the rocket control units to be delivered. I'll also set up some bot-based production of solar panels because we need them for the satellites. I was considering mass producing the satellites and delivering them one by one with trains, but that idea was too funny, so I didn't do it. And now it's time for a double rocket launch. And now we have space science automated. Now I'll go ahead and build a giant lab setup. Now I just need to set up a train for each kind of science to be delivered. Originally, I was going to try and belt weave all of the science together, but I thought it looked dumb, so I ended up counting each item on the lab belts and just releasing the science packs when they're needed. T stands for threshold, so whatever I set T to is how many of one kind of science pack can be on the belt at a time. So I created a lab design, pasted it down a few times, set all the logic conditions for the belts, and turned it on. Just kidding, the labs were misaligned, and that got me sidetracked and I went and did other stuff. Rocket fuel production had stopped due to a lack of solid fuel, which was due to a lack of petroleum, once again. But I realized I could just ignore it, and mining productivity research would fix my issues eventually, so I just went and turned the labs on. Turns out I was missing a green wire, but after fixing that, the science now waits its turn. And I think that looks pretty cool. There's mining productivity 4, so now it's time to queue up mining productivity 5. So we stopped launching rockets due to missing satellites. So you know me, the fastest solution is usually to make it faster, so speed modules it is. There we go. There's productivity 6, so now I'll research some random stuff for fun, and then back to more infinite research. Looks like red, green, blue, and purple science stopped being delivered. Let's investigate. Red science looks fine. Purple science is missing rails due to trains picking up at the almost empty stone station, so I'll fix that and add some more trains for stone delivery. I'll also add an additional grid cell for making rails because we actually didn't have enough. Blue science is missing engines because the engine train keeps trying to deliver the engines to a station that's already full of engines, so I'll fix that too. Oh, and I forgot to deconstruct the little to-do list silo assembler. We don't have enough iron plates, so I'll add 6 more iron smelters. And same issue with copper, so I'll add 8 more of those. Don't worry, these numbers aren't random, they're calculated. Mostly, but that's besides the point. Point is, those are built now, and we're low on power, so I'll build 2 more nuclear reactors and send out more trains for iron ore, iron plate, copper ore, and copper plate delivery. I'll place some solar panels because I feel like it, and then I'll start hooking up the nuclear reactors. Then I'll go kill some biters with the artillery train.
He's quite a sweet fellow, really. I think I'll call him Bob. Moments later, Bob is dismembered.
Now I'll continue to work in an active battlefield and start drilling for oil. This probably violates one of the Geneva Conventions. And there we go, more oil for our endless hunger for petroleum. Mining productivity 6. I want some more rocket fuel, so I'll paste down even more production for it. Also more solid fuel. Somehow we're making less green circuits than before now, and we need even more copper and iron now. So I set my sights on 2 more of Navis's offerings of ore. After arranging a peaceful council with the natives, they agreed to let me mine the ore. After quickly building a misaligned wall and then starting over, I built a new correctly aligned wall. Here's what that ended up looking like. I also ended up getting a bonus patch of iron ore. Sweet, but I got tired again, so I went to bed. I went to sleep at 2 a.m. and then woke up and started working on the mines at 1:30 a.m. After hooking up all the new mines to the rail network, I ran back to Amazon until my government-sanctioned Ring doorbell informed me that a rocket was about to launch.
So I went ahead and watched that while still micromanaging satellite production.
If your dog started barking after the doorbell sound effect, I apologize, but that's still kind of funny. I'm going to temporarily put some productivity modules in the rocket silo, because I need to launch more rockets so I can research more mining productivity. There's a little copper patch here, and I want to do a little experiment. Oh, also mining productivity 7. I want to see if I can make 2 blue belts of output using a ton of speed modules. Yes, I can. That gives me an idea, so I'll throw down some temporary speed module production. Also, even more copper ore trains. I don't like this bot-based solar panel production, so I'll give it its own dedicated grid cell. Mining productivity 8. The biters are giving me performance issues again, so I'll queue some range and shooting speed upgrades for the artillery. I'm also going to make the artillery train shorter because we couldn't fill all of the cars with ammo anyways. The shorter artillery train is way more nimble. I'll take it for a spin. It's also short enough to go through the main base without me worrying now. After relocating some biters to a different plane of existence, it's time to check in on green circuit stats again. 78%, and 11 minutes later, it's now 82%. I found a cool blueprint for mining that's full of beacons, so we can use it to speed up our diminishing copper ore mines up at the top of the base. I also almost got killed by another train. There we go, that's a ton more copper than before. 92% of the way to 1 million. There was a huge dip in production, probably from disconnecting those copper ore mines, but it should stabilize quite quickly. Also, we don't have nearly enough green circuit delivery trains, but that's an easy fix. There also isn't enough copper plate delivery trains, which is also an easy fix. Production has stabilized now, 90% of the way there. Also, with these speed modules, we don't need 2 rocket silos, so I'll get rid of one of them. And now I can officially say we are consuming 1 million green circuits. Not producing a million yet though. I need 2 more cells apparently. Also an achievement. Too bad the Playtime mod is installed, so I don't get to keep it. Now we get to slowly watch the counter tick upwards. Slowly being 50 times speed. 998,000, 999,000. 1 million. We did it. And now the series is over. But don't leave yet, I've got a special outro for you. Before that, a quick thanks to my supporters on Ko-fi. You guys are amazing. Now on to the final outro of the series. My name's DocJade. Bye-bye.
How do you think it feels? Anything is easy to play. How do you think it feels? Any day from 9 to 5. Why do you cry and steal? Many kinds of good days. Try you do something well.